Check.
Check, yeah.
That's you.
I don't know why.
Good for you.
I just love it. I always think it's funny when you can't see them and they're counting down. It feels very candid.
Okay.
You don't like the candid nature of just talking into a clock?
Not. I guess not.
You don't go into the corner of your house and just stare at your wall clock and start talking into it? No. You know the wall clock we all definitely have in our houses?
Exactly, yeah, the good old, what was it called, cuckoo clock? Or grandfather clock.
No, I can't afford it. Yeah, I can't. I brought two. I brought one for you, bud.
I've been literally, today I ordered an Uber Eats just to get a soda and they didn't bring the soda.
Animals.
I feel like it's such an asshole.
Animals.
You ever do that and you're just like, why? Why did I do this?
I was an ongoing saga where I was trying to buy this airtight container off of Amazon for storing food I was making.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to try some culinary experiments because I've decided that's a thing I want to do. And the first 2 times they delivered it, it was cracked. It was it's not airtight.
Twice?
It's no longer tight and capable of keeping the air on the inside or the outside.
So defeating the entire
And then the last time, this I'll admit is a bit of the gimmick. They come with this little rubber thing around the outside that holds a spoon. And they didn't have any, they didn't come with the spoon. The first 2 times it came with the spoon, but it came broke. The last time, it was it came fine, but they didn't have the spoon.
You have to return the one?
I returned it, yes.
Wow, they wanted to make sure you had a bad experience.
It was $20 whole. I can't imagine, I imagine they spent more money on postage than they did spend dealing with actually getting me the product.
Okay, and now, I'm gonna go to the "We'll be right back" screen so that we have some music in the background, but hello, it's us, wow. We might be a little choppy because this is going through a whole network, but hello, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Wow, that latency is bizarre.
It's weird, it's like half a second, something like that.
No, I mean on this one, because it's real round trip.
Yeah. So what's happening, none of you will care probably, but what's happening that Cameron can see is that there's the 2 cameras, there's Cameron's camera, it's my camera, and there's the wide. We also have a little pan tilt zoom camera down here for stupid stuff.
We're getting close up to these
guns.
I
also have a Chromecast if we want to put anything on that.
You can put Thor Love and Thunder on it.
We can put the whole movie on there and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bootleg copy of a handy cam somewhere in Russia where it's got the English subtitles or something.
No, thank you. But then for Cameron's edification, this whole rig has a router in it. The router is actually taking all of the camera signals in, encoding them, and then decoding them for my switcher, which you are now seeing. The problem is that the switcher, the decoding and encoding, needs a certain amount of bandwidth. Little did I know, routers have a limit to their bandwidth. So it's hit that limit, and you'll see a bit of choppiness because it's just trying to keep up with my dumb crap. So welcome to our stream where Cameron wanted to wait. Do it again. Oh, there. Yay! Wow, look at that.
Where's the pan tilt zoom camera? I need to do a tight zoom on my hand.
Wait, no. Let me.
Here's my hand.
1 second. Oh,
tight zoom on my hand, please.
1 second. It's going.
Tighter.
It's going.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Wow.
I hate when they do that zoom in. I don't know why I hate that zoom in so much.
Oh yeah, where it zooms in on the face.
It's just awkward, tight zoom in that just always, I don't know why, it is the most cringe shot. If there was a shot that I had to describe as cringe, it would be that.
I will forgive literally everything SNL does for the fact of how hard it is to put on an hour's worth of content weekly, fully produced, quote unquote live, even though they record most of it. It doesn't mean I like it, but I'll excuse it because I know how hard it is just to make content.
See, this is the thing is like I could go down a whole.
And that's the difference
I could
between
sit here
art
for an
and
hour.
content. This is the difference. SNL makes content.
Well, the thing is, I can sit here for an hour and tell you how
Yeah.
you could go to half the people on YouTube and most of the people on Twitch, even the people who have no audience whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would argue that they could put on multiple hours of more interesting content than SNL.
Does depend.
Because they
though.
do not have to pander to everyone.
The main conceit I would make for SNL is that it's not original content because usually they're cribbing from whatever happened that week.
Cribbing from
But it
memes
is-
from 5 years
They're
ago.
writing something. People on Twitch, part of the artifice is like, oh, you're here playing a video game and you have something to react to usually. But if you just hear like we are right now, just trying to talk about something, like if it was like a podcast, then yeah. By the way, if you realize that our microphones sound worse than they should, because we're not using these.
Just because you have expensive microphones doesn't mean they're going to sound good. I mean,
Exactly.
we're not using the expensive
Yeah,
ones.
we're not at all.
Uh,
Yeah, we're actually using
that was actually painful.
little lavalier. Yeah, you unhinged your jaw like a snake.
did.
What's wrong with you, King Cobra?
Fell right off.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I want that to be my nickname from now
King
on.
Cobra?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm into it.
You can just call me Casey for short.
Casey.
No, just Casey.
Oh, Casey. There you go. For short, of course. So what we're here. That's you. Damn it, I forgot. Okay, this is me. So what we're doing today is we're talking about the new Thor movie. Primarily, we thought this would be fun because I've been working very intently on other projects, but I've been building this live streaming setup for a long time and I just want to use it. And so Cameron was like, hey, let's talk about Thor Love and Thunder because we have conflicting opinions on it. Just like the majority of the internet, apparently.
I do not understand.
That's the thing.
Wait, where is that? We have to get the thread. We have to get the thread.
We have to get what thread?
Was
comment?
it Sam's? Yeah, Sam sent me a Reddit thread. That was like the mega thread,
really?
number 2, of like all the grievances. And I
Okay.
forgot to make sure I had it up for us.
Okay, really quickly, there's gonna be an audio feedback loop. I'm just gonna listen in.
sure I had it up for us. Oh, that's all. I don't like that.
That's real loud. Yeah, cool. Oh, my computer's loud is why. Okay, I think we're fine. I put a couple of different like EQs and stuff on the microphone, so hopefully that makes them sound decent.
I just realized I'm looking for a Reddit thread.
Yeah, and you can hear the music.
From Sam.
Cool. Hey, Sam! Y'all sound fun. Thank you, Sam. We're talking the movie we saw together. You were there. Wait,
Wait,
You were
Sam,
there.
can you please resend the?
Sam, resend the mega thread that
Yes,
Cameron's referring to.
I'm so bad
Apparently,
at finding this.
There was a mega thread. Oh my throat. Ugh. But yeah, there are parts of the movie, like the emoji, Sam. There are parts of this movie I did like, but I mean, at the same time, I wouldn't call it. People are really referring to it as like, on par with Taika Waititi's movies, and I don't particularly think so. Mostly because I think a big hindrance to it, and we'll talk about it later, is that it was recorded during quarantine. So most people aren't in the same location, and if they are, they're just far enough apart that they probably were composited together, presumably. I assume everything, like every other, Marvel movie, is made on a green screen, and everyone's just pretending like they know what's happening. So, yeah, that kind of hindered it for me, I think.
Yeah. So. I was hoping. Oh wait, there's a mega thread. Sam has just
Thank
sent
you,
it.
Sam.
Okay, I was frantically looking
Thank
for
you,
it.
Sam.
Let's do this in the
Thank
app.
you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Okay.
Wait, do the heart.
Wow.
We did it.
It actually does kind of look like a heart. Wow.
Wait, did you?
I didn't think it would look that good, I guess.
You have a 4K camera.
I know,
You spent
right?
money on good.
This is 1080p, but yeah.
All right.
Go on.
The discussions are here.
Okay, so apparently there's a mega thread on Reddit about the movie.
Yes.
So here we are talking about it.
Yes.
Go on.
No, I wanted to give my 2 cents on why I wanted this to happen.
Go to
Keon
it.
wouldn't shut up about how he has this cool rig, and I wanted to prove that I could be funny on camera in front of him, and 2, more importantly, spend time with my brother doing this thing he keeps talking about.
You decide if it's funny or not.
Yes, please do.
Yes.
Also, I keep talking in the microphone like it works.
Exactly. That's the
I've just been like, there's an implicit feature of spending way too much time working on podcasts.
Yeah, which I appreciate your mic etiquette, honestly, just because like I've worked not only myself, but like if I'm editing something and be like, oh, there's a lot of echo because nobody's like on the mic. Not that it matters, we're on labs, so it doesn't even matter.
I'm sure that was a awful noise that they had to hear.
Yeah, delicious.
All right, no, okay. So Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
I want to be clear, this is a debate. The goal of any debate is that you have to convince the other person that you are right beyond a shadow of a doubt, even if it requires inflicting violence on them. I learned these rules in school debate class, which I never went to.
You didn't go to the debate club?
Well, no, because I had to do the other 6 clubs.
Yeah, you were pretty active in high school.
I know, it was awful. Don't be lazy in high school. If you're in school right now, figure out the easiest way to get through life while doing the least amount of work, because that frees you up to...
Go on, no, finish what you're saying.
No, it frees you up to do other things like podcasting.
Yeah, do stuff that will look good on a college resume, and then just kind of, then you're good. If you really like something, do it. I mean, I was in drama far more than I needed to be, but I really enjoyed it.
There's nothing wrong with coasting. I'm happy to, especially now, like imagine what the world was like when we were in school, and now it's on fire. Which also brings up an important thing I want to bring up about this movie. One, it's just nice. It's a nice movie. The world is on fire. I just want one nice movie that isn't just like a cliched pile of cameos. I will probably be comparing this movie to a lot of other movies that just came out recently. But
so Sam, I'm not playing. Oh, this one's me. Sam, I'm not playing Hades. I'll do it later if you want it that much.
I mean, that's the only reason we subscribe to your Twitch channel.
Yay, good. That's all I want to play.
Watching you play Hades and say very stupid things no one asked you to say.
Great.
And also the one time you ate tacos. That was
the saddest
that
thing.
may have been the greatest moment. It was like it encapsulates Twitch streaming in a way nothing ever seen can.
It's so raw, and I'm glad the VOD's gone. But like,
I'm mad it's gone.
It was one of those moments that I couldn't even like. I can't describe. You can't describe it to somebody. The complete authenticity of me thinking, "Oh, the stream's dead. I guess I'll eat this taco I said I was going to eat," in just a completely somber and sad moment. And I still made like an noise and looked directly at the camera.
He did that for no one. He did not know the camera was on.
Horrible.
So, it was just built into him.
Yeah, awful. But anyway, I do agree that movie nice and movie fun and it's kind of nice. But I'll say in tone alone, the actual tone of the movie was like a nice time, but the content of it was pretty dark, and it felt for me like a weird whiplash of like, what are we doing, kind of thing. Like, how do you feel about that?
All right, I want to break up this entire debate into 2 parts. One, Cameron Keon talking about our just basic opinions, just setting the tone for our stances. Then 2, going down a mild rabbit hole of what was on this mega thread and seeing if there's some people have valid opinions we might want to crib off of.
I'm down with that.
So starting, I think what I loved about this movie is we have had dark and weird Thor movies and Marvel movies and regular movies. This movie had the awkward problem of having to be a Marvel movie that was also a Thor movie that also had to have all these like other things on it. And I don't understand how people actually think it's like, it's weird. Like I understand it has dark stuff in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, a Marvel movie is beholden to like, it has to fit into the Marvel formula within reason.
Yes.
That's just, it is, I will yield that fact unequivocally.
Yeah.
That's part of Kevin Feige's vision. He's decided this is what we're going to be doing for the next, until I die, I guess. And I'm okay with that, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a testament to Taika Waititi, like to step back and just say, regardless of the specifics we get into this for this movie, there is no director who's come at Marvel's content and done a better job of making it entertaining and meaningful while still trying to be part of Marvel.
Yeah, there was. His name's James Gunn. And he did it with Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't think it's better. I do not think they're better. I do not think they're better than Thor Love and Thunder or Thor Ragnarok.
Are you serious? Are you telling me that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 at the very end did not make you shed at least like tear up a little bit?
Yeah, it did, but at the same time it was like it was fine. Like, here's the thing, James Gunn is, I think the problem is James Gunn's artistic talent comes in the form of music video.
Yeah, that's
everything he does in Guardians of the Galaxy, everything he did in The Suicide Squad that everyone loves so much, was basically making meaningful music videos and stitching it together with plot. And I'm 100% okay with that.
Sure.
But the stuff that really sold Thor Ragnarok for me was like the thematic mixing of...
This is the difference.
Okay.
This is not Thor Ragnarok. I will argue that Thor Ragnarok was a very good movie.
Oh, wait, did I say Thor? I'm sorry, I meant Thor Love and Thunder.
Okay, then.
That's on me.
Because I'll agree.
Is it both of them? But here's the thing. Okay. Taika Waititi, and he does this in like all of his movies. He's so good at like taking like a cliched trope and then completely twisting it on its head to make a joke or to like make you re-examine just like the philosophical core question of the thing he's making.
Really? How did he do it with this movie? What did he subvert or transform by which the theme of the movie was really solidified? Please tell me. And it made thematic and narrative sense. Please illustrate.
I think one of my favorite things has to do with his use of narration.
I like that.
Every single freaking movie that ever comes out.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
we're gonna go into spoilers.
Here's a big pile of spoilers. Yeah. Let me get my big bag of spoilers. It's around here somewhere. No, okay. Every single movie, especially Marvel movies, because they have so much extra crap they have to fit in.
I apologize if you can hear me drinking. Okay, go on.
You should just apologize for that, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. I apologize. You're welcome.
Thank you. No, it's like narration and like exposition are really boring. They're really easy to mess up and be stupid. And I mean, like, if you need a classic example of like what's a stupid way to do exposition narration at the same time, the start of Jurassic World Dominion, where they're doing like I'm just gonna give you a little spoiler for this. It's like the first 5 seconds they do a now this like TikTok of the history of Jurassic World and also some weird locust thing, I guess, and like some weird crap is happening, and they're just talking at you for the better part of. Actually, I think it's like 15 minutes.
Wait, is it like the beginning of Pacific Rim where there's just news clippings and crap?
No, this is like a woman walking and talking and like. It's somehow worse than Pacific Rim.
Well, how
because there's not giant robots.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, what?
Okay. But this is my point. Is like it's just like they could have been interesting in any number of ways. Instead, they chose this.
Yeah.
In Thor: Love and Thunder, every single time they have to communicate a past idea, they either do it in a way that adds to the current plot of the story, like when Jane is like, "Why the hell does the hammer give a crap about Jane?"
Yeah,
because Jane, Thor loved her so much, he's like, hey, if anything matters, make sure to protect this girl. And then also, I absolutely love like they have to do like Hela, or they have to give like the backstory to Thor, or they're like doing all these bits. It's like, yeah, I'm talking to the crowd and doing little bits that are adding a little more to what's going on now, while unfortunately catching you up on the past 20 episodes of the Marvel TV show.
Yeah, doing that like Shakespearean little thing.
Yeah, like that funny. One to give you like, oh, this is Hela, and then they like break it, and also Sam Neill gets to show up for 5 seconds. That's very funny.
Yeah, I love him.
But then here's why it's great. Because of when he doesn't exposit and narrate. Because the entire start of the movie is like up. You get this beautiful, almost like wordless vignette of why the villain is motivated in the way they are, and at no point is it funny, and at no point is there narration. He's just surprised. They're like the bathos that everyone complains about in Marvel is distinctly not there.
And that brings up complaint number 1 for me.
Okay.
Which is why we didn't get more of Gore the God Killer or God Butcher, whatever, because Christian Bale, like he was the best part of the movie in my opinion. He did an incredibly good job, and I wanted way more of him and like a more talk no jutsu between him and Thor of like Thor convincing him is like, what you're doing is stupid and dumb, and it's not until like the very end and right before like he dies that they're just like, hey, you bad and stupid and whatever, and then he's just like, really? What? Oh no, I was stupid, bad, whatever. Like.
He doesn't say stupid, bad, whatever, though. That's not what he says at the end.
That's right. That's not
okay.
Exactly
Other than the obvious fact that he doesn't literally say. Actually, that was very funny when Natalie Portman's character in the middle of the movie, he goes to Christian Bale and he smacks him on the head with her physical hand instead of the hammer. It says, "You are bad doo-doo head. Stop it."
Big poo-poo doo-doo feces head, and he's like, "Oh, no one's ever spoken to me like that before. Wow, I really am a changed man.
I'll go back to Gotham and reassess my life."
Exactly. Did you hear he's down to do another Batman just as long as Christopher Nolan is directing?
Oh my God! Well,
like he's down.
We will go there later.
Sure.
But my point is, I do wish I got way more Christian Bale.
And I agree. The beginning was fantastic. I was like, great. Okay, cool. I'm on board. Great.
But like, is Thor Love and Thunder? So I kind of get why you don't want to spend the entire time. Like, it's disappointing that the God Butcher doesn't show us more of his time butchering gods.
Yeah.
And I agree with everyone's opinion that like it was kind of a weird fake out. I didn't dislike it, but I thought it was a weird fake out that we go to the city of the gods, where all the gods are, and the God Butcher doesn't like think that's a place that he might want to target at some point.
Something that surprised me is how much the pacing of the film, that like it felt very similar to like, I don't know, I hate to make the comparison, but kind of similar to Rise of Skywalker, where it's like you have the bits of like, well, we just need to keep doing these things. I'm fairly certain, I think the movie's like exactly 2 hours. And I think they were like, okay, well, we only want it to be that long. We're not doing another 2.5 hour or 3 hour movie. So I think that I heard that like Taika Waititi had stuff he had to delete.
Oh yeah.
He would like to do a extended version. And I think that would have made the movie feel better for me because I liked a lot of the, like it just needed more time to breathe in certain places. But the thing that surprised me was, speaking of the city of the gods, why bring that up, have them go there, do this scene, and they get the bolt. But like, it would have been kind of interesting. So one moment that I'm glad that didn't happen, we talked about this before off camera, is that I really would have hated if at the very end there was an on your left moment and all the gods show up and they're like, we're here to save the day. That would have been funny if they immediately get slaughtered. That would have made it funny. But like, I thought that it would have been like, oh, they're all like, haha, this isn't an issue. And then Gore comes and kills all of them. And then Thor's just like, welp. Didn't need their help anyway. Like, they do these things where they set up a moment, they set up a situation, and then it just keeps going in a way that I felt like there should have just been a little bit more meat in the third act. Because it starts off with like, cool, let's go find out the gods. Cool, we got the bolt. And now we go fight Gore. He beats our ass. He sends us packing. After he sends us packing, I guess we'll go back. Like, basically, was kind of what I saw. Like, after that, they just go back, but it's only Thor, and then we have that moment of Jane
it's two
on your left.
They're two different missions, and I will admit, it is. I do get that people think it's funny that the God Killer, who's like, gods don't care about anyone, kidnaps a bunch of children, thinking the gods would care about these children.
Yeah.
So that seems like a weird, conflicting thought on his part. But at the same time, it's not actually. I don't know if it's that weird. I think they might have just not done a great job setting up part of his character like this. But
I'm pretty sure we're still live.
Like,
my computer fell asleep, so I think we're still live, hopefully.
No, like
I'm not gonna eat a taco and pretend we're not.
Damn it.
Okay, here we go.
Why even am I here?
Well, if you want, I can eat a taco.
No, but he's a dad.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's like a little like underdeveloped, like maybe there's a deleted scene there that kind of explains like why he was okay with taking the kids. Like maybe he thought that the kids were in danger. So like I get that was less developed. But I think like, first of all, I think when you really think about it, there's no way the gods could have ever helped. The entire point was to go to God City to prove the point that not necessarily all gods, but definitely the old guard of gods. That is the problem that has led to Christian Bale's character taking up the sword and doing all the things he's doing, is because they are all apathetic, self-interested narcissists. Like that. Yeah. And then also, more obviously, it's so that Roy Kent can be set up as a villain for the next movie.
God.
That is literally the only real reason they went there, and it's worth it in my opinion.
Only part of the movie I liked.
It's perfect.
I'm kidding. There were parts I liked.
Yeah, you should have liked it.
I did like that a lot.
But like, it feels like a weird fake out because like there are lots of times where you would think the God Killer would do more god killing, even though he killed only one god on camera at the start of his little journey, and then he kind of killed a god off, whatever that thing that Civ was next to.
Yeah, the giant weird thing. He's like, oh, that's the nice guy. He's so nice. I love that guy. And then he's like, oh, well, he's dead.
I mean, that also helps emphasize the fact that, like, this guy is indiscriminately killing gods.
Yeah, but
he doesn't even care to try and figure out which gods are good or bad.
An extra scene or two between him abducting the children would have been nice, just to show, him just really, like, legitimately, I hate to say it, but just that moment from where Kylo Ren's just, like, getting the... what's it called? The Omicron. What do they call those? The Sith holocron?
Yeah, Sith holoboys.
Yeah, him just going from planet to planet, like, looking for the... what's it called? The quote-unquote the key, and then he finds out that it's like yes, the McMuffin, and then he finds out that it's the Bifrost. He's like, oh, okay, like he sees the symbol or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But like that scene would have showed like he's really ruthless and disturbing, and then you see, oh no, he has the kids. What is he gonna do? And then you're like, oh well, he does have a heart at least because he's not gonna murder children, and Disney wouldn't let that happen.
I mean. Technically, Star Wars is a Disney franchise, so retroactively, Disney did let that happen. They have the money to build a time machine and stop George Lucas from going back in time. It's like episode 3 is not going to happen.
Not even retroactively. You saw the beginning of Kenobi.
That's true. I did see the beginning of Kenobi. That is now canonically part of a thing that Star Wars that Disney had their hand in.
They added more graphic.
They added more children dying.
Exactly.
They added a child growing up to kill other children.
Yes, yeah.
The cycle of violence.
I would say, and I would say that just having more of gore, but I appreciate that, and this is what I mean, is that like, okay, you have these moments of like, okay, well, Gore wouldn't kill children. What is his goal? He wants the Bifrost so that he can then go and make the wish, the ultimate wish, to wish away all the gods. But at the end of the day, like, okay, so are we? What thematically? This is my problem with all Marvel movies, and we mention it. And if you go to Frameforged on YouTube, Frameforged on YouTube, the one with the anvil, not the software.
God, those people are cringe.
Good for them. I mean, they have way more. They show up in the SEO more than we do, so fine for them. But if you go to our Frameforged channel, we have a video about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And at the beginning of our Everything Everywhere All at Once video, I illustrate the fact that Marvel movies have a really hard time solidifying their themes and stakes, and I feel like that happens here too. That like in Thor Love and Thunder, we have, you have your 3 different types of stakes, your philosophical, your emotional, and your external. External is just what's happening physically in the plot. Philosophical, what you should take home as like a lesson learned, and then your emotional is what's happening in the hearts and minds of the character. My problem is that I couldn't, like, it's not really that clear, the philosophical or the emotional stakes in my mind, because it's a little bit about jealousy and a little bit about like lost love, but then it's also about like gods and like looking up to things.
Hang on.
Illustrate it to me. I don't know.
There's 2 different tracks happening. So for Gore, you clearly have. First of all, part of his problem comes from believing that an external entity would solve his problem and not being more proactive himself. And then, hard pivot to the other side. Now, he's so self-obsessed with how this one person that he prays to all the time, thinking that person gives a crap about him, didn't do anything, and now is taking out on everyone, even benevolent gods like whoever Sid was fighting. And the entire point of the climax of the film is to make him realize that he's completely missed why he even cared about anything in the first place, which was he was praying for his daughter. And instead of being more proactive for his daughter, he basically failed to act. And so now is his opportunity to act for his daughter. That point comes full circle, and it takes Thor, the hero, to step up and basically try to communicate in a meaningful way that this is what he needs to do. Not that he's vindictive, it needs him to go back to feeling empathetic and understanding what sent him down this path. Now, hang on, I gotta say the second part.
Okay.
We saw the Thor side of things.
Sure.
Thor's entire arc is about found family and found love. It's the many types of love. He's hanging out with a rock monster he met in the last one. He's hanging out with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which picked him up after he fell down at the end of Endgame and all the things that happened there.
Now they're bros.
Yeah, like the entire point is found family, and it ends with him adopting Christian Bale's daughter. I cannot remember his name for some reason.
Yeah, me either.
In order...
New Thor. Or Love, they called her.
Yes.
Love and Thunder, yeah.
One of them is Love, the other one is Thunder.
Yeah.
I'll let you decide who is who.
Yeah, let our powers combined, we become
But
Thor.
the point is that, like, found family is the core driver for his side of the story.
I wish I could say it was that simple, but frankly, the Guardians are there for one scene. Each character probably has a line, and they have one conversation with Star-Lord, and it doesn't seem like any of them particularly like Thor. And then we fast forward to he rekindles his love with Jane, and I was like, this is great. It also was, and this is my problem, particularly poignant with, like, talking with an ex. Like, anybody that has, like, an ex where you're just like, we're trying to be civil now, probably were watching that like, oh my God, like, just cringing. I think you looked over and I was, like, dying in my seat. But great scene, because, like, it pulls on that from you. At the same time, I was sitting there like, okay, well, she also has cancer. How are we going to reconcile that?
Oh, man, like, I knew I knew it was... Unfortunately, I did know the backstory for where they based this off of, so I kind of knew...
Like, that's in the comics?
Yeah, I don't... Like, in the comics, the reason she's dying isn't like Mjolnir's, like, zapping her energy or however they explain it. It's the actual reason is every time Thor transforms, like, the transformation also purifies him of any toxins. Is the justification. And her chemo drugs are technically a toxin. So every time she transforms, she basically undoes the chemotherapy she's doing, letting the cancer spread. And so it's there's a continuous debate, like, is doing good better than living?
Would have loved to see that in the movie. That's a pretty good thing.
They do that in the movie when she dies, transforming to help Thor.
No.
They didn't do it exactly the same way, but the final message is still there.
Magic rules fucking matter, and I will die on this hill. That if you do a thing where it's just like, oh no, she's lost the will to live again. Shit.
She didn't lose the will to live. I don't know where this thing is.
That was a joke. That was just a joke. That was a Padme joke from Star Wars. I'm sorry. Which, by the way, Taika Waititi didn't realize she had been in Star Wars before, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, sorry. That was just a joke. I didn't mean it seriously. Primarily what I'm trying to get at is the fact that, like, the cancer part makes it like, okay, well, she's going to fight for what she loves. I get that. But she's making a big sacrifice that particularly didn't seem necessary when Thor's literally like, stay here and rest and get better and we can have a life together and we can be happy together. Then she's like, no, you need my help completely. I honestly don't know if he really needed her help at the end. My main problem is those magical rules. Is it's like, okay, well, if she's dying because of the chemo, why? And if she goes one more time, that will kill her? Will it kill her? They kind of hint at it and they talk about it. He's like, hey, you can't transform anymore. Fine. But it could be a nitpick. I could be nitpicking. I could be that total asshole that's just like, I wanted them to do more. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying that, like, it seemed like there was, it literally starts off, the first thing we hear is fucking her saying, reads a damn book, like exposition style, saying like, oh, well, if I do this, then Thor's hammer gives me health. Great. Then she goes and does it, and it doesn't. And in my mind, I'm like, lol, why? Like, why doesn't it do it? Isn't that literally the whole thing she was doing? And why, whatever. I do get the idea of, like, playing it and this is my problem, is the mixed messaging. Okay, is it healing her or not? Is it supposed to be an analog for healthy habits, or is it supposed to be an analog for addiction? Where are we going with this? And then at the very end, when it's like it's just a thing that's draining her life, it's just like, okay, well, it didn't seem like that this whole time until the third act when we needed it to be.
I think the way
when Natalie Portman probably wanted out of the MCU.
I think the way I understood it was, so, first of all, in the beginning of the film, when she gets cancer and is getting sick, she just kind of like falls down and is like not doing well.
Oh, we're getting comments. It gave her health in Thor form. That was the caveat she didn't know. Wait, it gave her health in Thor form.
Yeah, when she's transformed.
Why didn't she just not why did she not just transform into Thor the whole time?
Hang on.
And stay with healthy time.
I'm guessing because she's a human person and can't, like, It would have been cool if when she transformed back from being Thor, it was like very visible that she's like very gaunt and like the cancer is taking over.
They had it like once.
Yeah, but the thing is like that's the thing is like she doesn't really transform back from being Thor the whole time. I think the thing that was not maybe as well communicated that I took away from that is it wasn't necessarily that it guaranteed she was going to be healthy. It was more like it felt like a metaphor for like wanting power when you're powerless. Like when you get a cancer diagnosis, when you find out you're sick, it's so weird because it's not just like a problem. It's like your body betrayed you.
That and I appreciate that she's just like, I don't like telling people because they treat you differently and there's no going back from that. And it is, like once you hear that about somebody, it's just hard to look differently and it sucks. And the world sucks. And
any permanent difficult ailment, regardless of how you got it, is always very, and I know this is particularly a thing around the world, but wait, what do we get?
Why doesn't she live weak with cancer? Wait, what do you mean why doesn't she live weak with cancer?
Man, you got him.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you got him.
What did your wife say?
No, you have to say it in the SpongeBob.
Why doesn't she just live weak with cancer?
That's the point. It's like if she's not getting better.
Yeah.
So that when she's transformed.
They didn't say that.
I know they didn't say that, but they visually communicated it throughout the entire thing.
My main thing is that like at the very beginning, I will agree that literally they say like, oh, this is basically terminal. But then near the end, you're just like, okay, well, can she get better? Yes, no. There's no.
There's a difference between this is something you're gonna fight and this is the last fight. This is I can go to chemo and keep. Like I have a fork in the road. I can stay in this bed and go to chemo, and maybe I'll live.
Okay.
Because that was the same problem she had at the very beginning of the movie. It's like you have stage 4 cancer, which is I'm pretty sure there's no stages after stage 4 cancer.
Sure.
So this is a very far along, very aggressive problem. She's going to be doing chemotherapy and all sorts of other therapies for either until she dies or she gets better, and there's no guarantee of either.
Sure.
Or the other road she has ahead of her is she knows Thor's in danger. They just fought this guy, and they had like a funny little army of kids. We won't get into this child soldier part, even though I adored it. It was perfect. I thought it was the best thing.
Yeah.
Because it really was a full circle moment about Thor's like stepping into his dad's shoes.
Yes.
But okay, let's put a pin in that for right now.
Sure.
She knows. It was like, all right, I maybe, super slim chance and lots of agony can go and do chemotherapy. But even then, I don't know how much of I decided that I'll still love Thor and maybe there's something there. Because that's like a weird part of this that I admit they probably could have done a better job of fleshing out exactly what they're feeling. Is like, is this just like we used to be together and I miss that, but I'm not thinking about all the times where things were not super great, or is this really just we're at different stages of our lives and maybe we can be together now? But the point was, if she transforms, the just effort it will take and transforming back is just, you're done. This is your last chance.
Yeah. I'd say that I appreciate that as a symbol for never giving up and trying to save the ones you love, and that as an illustration for Gore, where he's just I just wanted more banter, not even banter, just communication between Gore and Thor.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
Oh yeah,
legitimately at the very end, where Gore is I won, now what? And then Thor's just I'm gonna go be with the one I love, and he's just but he's is she dying? Straight up, he's just you're dying, and then he's just yeah, I came to save him from you because I love him. And she's and he's what the fuck? That moment of switching, you unlock something in the villain's brain where they're just oh, I get it now. And he does get it, but I that's my problem is that I'm big stupid doo-doo brain that I love it when a movie goes out of their way to concretely make it explicit in your mind that this is why this is happening. And that's my problem with a lot of Marvel movies, and my problem with Doctor Strange and all these other movies is that they're fine. They, for me, consistently, if you ever want my review of any Marvel movie, 6 out of 10. Better than nothing. I'll give it that. But at the end of the day, they don't have these explicit moments. Go watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it does. And it shows you exactly where the characters are, and exactly where they are in their progression, and exactly what one person said to them that made them do the thing or think away. That's my problem with these movies, is that consistently people say stuff and then you're just like, now what? Did that mean anything? Does it mean anything? And what does it mean?
I don't know.
Do they know things? Let's find out. Like, I had to.
I don't know. It's like that. It's not ambiguity because they had lots of clues. Like, show don't tell is still kind of important, but at the same time, I think they give you so much on the screen to tell you this is what Thor is thinking. Here's the problem with this movie is a lot of what's driving Thor is kind of described in 3 other movies. There is Thor dealing with his like fake out loss of his brother, then the actual loss of his brother, the loss of his home, the loss of everyone he knows.
Korg like illustrates that in the opening monologue pretty well.
Yeah. But that's kind of the point, is like the loss doesn't stop him. It helps him keep going. And part of this is him examining loss in a way that it's not really for him. Before, Thor was kind of the point of all of this. Oh wait, we have a message.
What? No, it's the same one.
Oh.
Yes, Sam, I get it.
It's funny.
Living with cancer sucks. I get your message.
It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
No, but it's like, up until now, he's not selfish, but he's living to kind of solve problems focusing on himself. Like, one of the best lines he says is like, I tried meditation and it just made me angrier. That is clearly saying he tried to do things that were supposed to help him deal with his trauma and feel better, and he hates it because he's focusing on himself too much. And having other people to care about and other people to focus on seems to be better. That's why he likes being with the Guardians. That's why he likes being with Korg. That's why he was having fun going back with Valkyrie. And that's why he's not being nitpicky with Jane. And like, my favorite thing about this is the idea that Jane is dying, and her solution is to get a hammer. No, her solution is to get a hammer and become a superhero. And then she does it in just the most like, she has no clue what she's doing, and everyone is happy to take her seriously because they respect her and have a history with her. And all these pieces are to build up this idea that Thor is no longer living for himself. He is living to become a mentor and help others. This is perfectly exemplified by the fact that he takes on the role of his father, giving Thor powers to the kids. He's literally becoming a surrogate father for the daughter that has been like, there are a bunch of places where it's clear that this is the transition he's having to follow.
Sure, I completely agree. I agree that his arc is from going from like distracting himself with all these other things and trying to be helpful, but not really knowing what he is or where he should be, to at the end realizing, oh, I'm basically my dad now, you know, or like mature enough to take the place of someone like my dad and be a mentor or a father figure. I can give people these powers. I can be someone supportive to a little girl.
Hang on, this is important thing. He understands the importance of being a father or father figure, but he also understands the importance of not internalizing the lessons of his father. Because there's like a perfect scene at the end of the movie where she's like, I like pancakes, and he doesn't just make a big fuss and yell, this is final, and throw her to earth and strip her of her powers.
You're unworthy.
He's like, all right, fine. Wear whatever you want. We're gonna go fight these guys at 7 a.m. or something. We have a 6 a.m. revolution reservation.
I agree that, he is definitely matured. I totally agree with that. My main, the thing about it is that like a lot of other stuff happens in the movie that I think pulls away from that, or it does support it, but we just get stuck in a bunch of other things. If it's really about that, there's just like a bunch of other quips and references and whatever, where it's just like, okay, well, we're just kind of spinning our wheels, in my opinion. And like, I definitely agree the beginning and the end of the movie completely solidify what you're talking about. But in the middle, they go to the god, whatever. They fight Gore. Gore is like, you see a little bit about Gore, but primarily like...
Well, going to the god, whatever, it's useful because it helps to exemplify that Gore is not wrong.
Yes, I
agree. He is, the entire reason they go there is because we have not hung out with other gods. We have not even seen the kind of gods that clearly, like, one bad god is not a really good point to use for your genocidal revolution. Going to an entire city of all the gods and seeing that the vast majority of them suck is an excellent way of saying the villain is at least a little bit right.
Yeah.
That's why the villain is so compelling, because everything about him is at least a little bit right within the reality of their universe.
And I agree. Yeah, no, definitely that. Like, yeah, the gods are total assholes in the movie, and that like Gore isn't completely unempathizable. The main thing is, okay.
He's super empathizable. Like, we're living in a time where everyone is feeling a little bit of, why don't we just burn it all down already? Our gods of greed and capitalism sure aren't working for us, so why do we keep letting them dictate things? You can take all of those little points of how they live in excess and feel completely justified in understanding his worldview because of how they awkwardly map to ours.
And I get that, but I, at the end of the day, was just like, okay, well, my problem is just that, like, cool, you've done this. Now what? You've shown us that they're, like, legitimately, Gore doesn't probably have anything wrong with his plan. Like, him going and killing a bunch of the gods, who cares? They're all assholes, and they literally have a contest of how many people did you get to sacrifice to yourself this year or whatever.
Yeah, but the problem is
he's do an orgy.
No, but we're also seeing the entire time. The problem is he wants to kill all the gods. He is indiscriminately going to kill...
So not all gods is the message?
Apparently.
Hashtag
thin gold
gods.
line.
I guess. Ew, I don't like that.
The problem is that he's genocidal in an unempathetic way. That part still makes him wrong.
If only he was genocidal in an empathetic way.
Yeah, if only he wanted to kill all the bad ones. But that's kind of the point. It's like, it's not his place to decide. The first god he killed was going to kill him, so you could argue self-defense.
Sure.
The first god he killed also was a total jerk who let his daughter die even though everyone kept trying to worship him and felt justified in letting people suffer even though he could easily step in. So in all these ways, that first kill feels very legitimate. Every subsequent kill, we're basically being told in one way or another, is not as black and white.
Sure, and then they go to the black and white planet.
And they go to black and white planet
shadow realm
to make sure that there was no ambiguity left. It's because we know how much you love having things written out for you. They go to black and white land.
Yeah, which apparently I think that was filmed in a Best Buy parking lot, according to Natalie Portman.
That makes sense.
Yeah, she deliberately said, like, yeah, I was watching the movie. I was like, wow, this looks so good. And it's so weird that we filmed that in a Best Buy parking lot. I'm like,
never will you find a better example of desolation than a Best Buy parking lot.
Exactly. Which I found weird. Like, some of the set dressing there, I'm like, why are they in, like, a science tent in this black and white place? That's weird. But it's fine. It's a movie. They did what they did. There were cool tentacles in there. It's fine. But, yeah, I think my point still stands that it's just like, okay, well, so is the theme being a good god? Is it being a good partner? Is it love in what
I would argue it is objectively love and thunder.
Yes, and I
love
agree.
Each other and do a big punch.
Yes, and so I guess, and a lot of movies have this emotional stakes where it's the difference between being alone or being part of a community, a loving community. But at the end of the day, my issue still is with like, okay, well, to what end? In what context are we saying that, like, okay, we'll be with the ones that you love, and then he takes a child and now is their surrogate father and they don't know each other and It's
kind of a.
My problem is it's so vague and weird. A lot of the stuff I just don't get it. Like blah blah.
I don't know. It all felt surprisingly salient to me. I mean, you literally have Korg reading whole things out to you to be like, oh yeah, let's be not ambiguous here at all. Like, this is exactly what happened at the end. And they went off, and I'm going to exposit about how I had a fun gay relationship with another rock dude, because that's the closest Disney will let us to get to this line.
Yeah, that they hold hands,
yes,
literally
for a month.
2 rocks for
and then that they do this or that or whatever. So, like, there's still plenty of places where he's happy to do the exposition dump.
And I'm totally fine with that. I think Korg was great. When he nearly died, I was furious.
Yeah, that would have ended the movie for me. I would have left.
I was prepared to walk out of the theater.
And not just because he's voiced by Taika Waititi.
I love Taika Waititi so much. That's why I just feel bad about this movie, because I want to love it, and I love his humor, but it just felt like a lot of it, apparently, I forgot what I was watching, but apparently it was written by like 6 people. Like each actor.
Yes, they all are.
No, but I mean like deliberately by each of the actors. Like Taika Waititi was a writer. Chris Pratt was a writer. So was Chris.
Is Chris Pratt a good writer? I don't know anything.
I think he's a really funny person. Like
but everything that I love about him, especially from Parks and Rec, was just him riffing.
I would liken this, and I think that this is probably my most apt description off the fly of this movie, is that it is written like a South Park episode, where it's like, get a bunch of funny people in a room and just start riffing and see what comes up and see what's fun, and then we're going to put it on the screen because we don't have much time because COVID kind of screwed us. That's how I feel like this movie came about, and in that context, not bad. But in the context of like, okay, well, we're trying to make a Marvel movie that is supposed to have like, it's supposed to fit with all the other movies and have like a cogent narrative. It's still fine, but I just don't, as a movie with themes and like a narrative that's supposed to go from point A to point Z or whatever, I just felt like it really got muddled really bad. And in my mind, that's really only from everybody trying to make heads or tails of the story as they go. And still not bad, but pretty messy, in my opinion, in that context. Does that kind of, do you get what I mean?
I understand the part where it's like, all right, they probably were approached with, here's a list of things that need to happen in this movie to get us to the next part of the MCU or whatever.
Sure.
You need
Which
to
I don't think we're
set
many.
up gods. We need to make sure this girl is the outcome. We need to make sure that...
Like Young Avengers. Probably
Natalie Portman doesn't want to be here anymore, so she gotta die.
That's all I thought. Literally, as soon as Natalie Portman had cancer, I'm like, cool, she's not going to be in the MCU anymore. She probably didn't want to be, was it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but they could have done a far more like I mean, like how they get rid of the guy who plays Colonel Rhodes in the first Iron Man. You know what I'm talking about.
He wanted the same pay as...
No, I know, but the point is, they were getting rid of him, and they could have done it far less gracefully for Natalie Portman, but they still found a way to make it fun and meaningful, and I loved every second of it.
Did you know the guy that played Colonel Rhodes thinks that 1 minus 1 equals 2? Or 1 times 1 equals 2. This is true. Look it up. Moist Critical did a video about it literally yesterday. It's incredible. He's rewriting math.
I'm not entirely certain I understand what this has to do with this.
Nothing. I just loved it.
Is it because of why he couldn't get the contract negotiations? It's because he couldn't do the math?
Literally, Charlie brings that up. It's literally like... you brought up the actor, so I'm just like...
Yeah, but I'm saying that it's like, you have something that big, you have people coming in and out all the time. I get that. Mm-hmm. I still think they made a very salient, poignant, fun, not too much spoon feeding you while also being nice enough to hold your hand the whole time movie.
I like it the same way I like rom-coms, if I'm being honest. I think it was a fine time. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed watching the movie. But if I were to dig any deeper, I would just be doing myself a disservice, if I'm being completely honest. And there were elements that I wanted way more of, and there were elements that I wanted a little bit less of, but on the whole, it was a net positive, and that's fine. And if I really needed to find things that I liked, I would honestly say that, yeah, I wish there was more gore. I honestly really did like what they did with Natalie Portman. I thought that was totally fine. I liked what they did with her character. I think Thor has been through enough. Please leave him alone. Apparently, Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth were sitting in this theater next to each other, and then when it said Thor will return, they both looked like, what? Like, they didn't think this, they thought this was the end of Thor. So that's what's surprising.
Well, he's not dead yet.
Yeah.
He's not Tony Stark. Tony Stark's not dead either.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's going to be a zombie.
Captain America will be there too.
Yeah. But all those are fine. Korg was great. I just think that like some of the ad-libbing and some of the little parts that they inserted really took away from the expediency by which they could tell the plot in the narrative and make it all make sense or have a cogent theme or stakes or anything. Overall, the actual characters were great, but the rest of it,
So it doesn't sound like we're going to convince each other yet. So I'm going to offer that maybe we switch gears to this mega thread.
Okay, there's mega thread. I put it on that screen.
So, do we actually want to...
You realize the movie is basically an action romance, right? Samantha?
And it's comedic. It's a rom-com, Keon.
Samantha Spears.
How dare you dox this woman?
Oh, sorry, I doxed you on my channel. Who cares? Samantha Spears.
On my channel, too.
And on Cameron's channel. Samantha, how dare you? I've seen at least 2 movies. I know what an action romance is.
But it's also funny.
Yes, but I'm. This is that shit where it's just like, well, it's a kids movie. It's like, so it can still be a good kids movie, and it doesn't mean that I need to give it high marks because it's a kids movie. Same thing with Marvel movies. Just because it's a Marvel movie doesn't mean that it can this or that, or I should hold it to the standard of rom-com. It's a movie. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 just because I think it's okay. But don't come at me like, oh, it's rom-coms.
Let's go to.
I've had a hell of a day, Sam.
The mega thread.
Okay.
Do we read usernames or should we just read the comments?
If you want to, but I'm fine with just reading the comments.
All right, let's do. I just wanted to call this one out because their comment is perfect and their name is perfect. They are Cake Boss Ultimate.
K what?
Cake Boss Ultimate.
Cake Boss Ultimate.
They are ultimate above their boss and cakes. Yes.
That's a 2009
I don't know when this person's from, but their comment is Christian Bale was cooking, and I would agree. He was cooking.
Cooking?
Oh yes. Yeah, it's like you did a really good job. It's cooking.
Oh, is that actually a phrase that I?
Yeah, that's yeah. Like now we're cooking or stuff. People usually say cooking is a positive thing. This is just turned into etymology lessons with Cameron.
Sorry, when you said that, I thought he looked like they were saying that he looked
Christian
like Walter
Bale.
White or
I love my favorite scene in the movie was you remember at the end when Thor makes her pancakes because of that scene in the middle of the movie where Gore was like, "My daughter used to love pancakes. Allow me to make all of you little children some delicious silver dollar pancakes because I am a good father, even though my poor daughter died because a God was absent in our lives."
I'm gonna be real. That would have been a Taika Waititi moment where it's like, please look after her. She likes pancakes in the morning. Here's my recipe. Like, something like that.
God damn.
That would have been, oh my God. That would have been the icing on the cake.
No, it would not have. That was in the bathhouse problem we all hate.
No. At the very beginning, he had a little piece of paper in his pocket, and at the very end, he hands it to him.
It's just the
perfect pancakes. That would have been really cute. I know it would have ruined the movie. I'm not conceding that point. I'm just saying that I think that would have been like a cute moment about that if you gave a shit about him caring about pancakes, which I don't think he cares about. Anyway, go on.
All right, next one. Not entirely sure what to make of this. Am I the only one that wanted Sif's arm to just be laying there near the portal when Jane stepped through? I don't.
Who cares?
I don't care.
I'm glad Siv's around, I guess. I did enjoy that moment where he's like, you had to die in battle to do that. And then he's like, oh, yeah, can you take me back? I thought that was fun.
Anyone else love the Muppet bad guys in the Guardians of the Galaxy scene? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The
like
things they were fighting, yeah. They were pretty... That was some, like, Jim Henson-ass shit. It was perfect.
I was into it. Especially, like, their weird, like, wild eyes and, like, their screaming shrieks. I love that.
It seems unanimously most of these people are Thor 4 need more gore. Literally, that is literally the name of the comment.
I hate to say it, but like, and not hate to say it, it's just the fact that like, you show Christian Bale in the trailers and you're just like, okay, dope, I want a bunch of... It reminds me of like in that Godzilla movie where they had Bryan Cranston in all of the trailers.
Just like fake it out.
Yeah.
Or with Jeff Goldblum in the last Jurassic Park movie where you're like,
sure, yeah,
he's definitely here to do stuff.
Yeah.
He gives one testimony hearing and he's gone.
Yeah, like, I mean, Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok had way more screen time. It was more of a player in the thing. I can really only remember 4 scenes with gore in it, and that were impactful. Everything else, he's just kind of around, so I guess.
He's menacing.
I guess. He would have been more menacing if he was killing off a bunch of gods. You know?
Well, he was kind of killing off a bunch of gods just off screen.
Yeah, on screen is my problem. Okay, go on.
They gave Mantis one line and one line only, and it was a goat imitation. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hard agree with this dude.
I didn't like the screaming goats.
I can't believe I enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought there was like a payoff there that I didn't even want them to give me, and they still gave it to me.
The only payoff for them the entire time was when they go to the Shadow Realm and the planet's smaller than you think it is, and they like crash into it like goat first. I thought that was the only time I was about the goats. Yeah. Every other time I'm like, okay.
But that's kind of the thing is like they get these goats. Mm-hmm. It's very obvious. Like first of all, the goats are given to them to emphasize the quality of the job they did.
Sure.
It's like, oh yes, we will generously give you these goats that we... I mean, Keon, I know they didn't spell it out for you, but let me make it clear. They did not want the goats.
Yes. Exactly.
The people on that planet did not want the goats, and they saw an opportunity to kill 2 goats with 1 stone by giving them to one of this Thor. And then Thor would take them away from here so that they could deal with the fact that Thor potentially, intentionally destroyed their magic artifact building.
Sure. I agree.
The goats,
So yeah,
for some reason, still worked for me the whole time. I cannot believe they did.
I thought it was like a sharp exhale for me, max, whenever I saw them, but no remote.
Yeah, but
laughter. The first one.
Jamie Alexander got fourth billing in the end credits, and she had less screen time than the goats. She's supposed to have a bigger role that got left on the cutting room floor.
Was she Civ? Who is she?
Oh, well, at least her character is alive compared to the Warrior 3, who's our...
So she was Civ, I assume.
Yeah. Let me make sure.
A lot of the time that just comes from the actor being a big name, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, she was there, I guess.
That was Civ.
Okay. So.
Sporting a crop top.
Good for her.
In whatever image I just saw.
Okay.
So, is this movie suggesting that Korg's species are all males, or just that he's gay and his dads are gay?
Korg said he had a mom in Ragnarok, so I don't think so.
They could be polygamists.
Either that or like the men do the sex and then, I don't know.
I'm not sure if this is a continuity error or what, but in Ragnarok, when Korg is talking about passing out pamphlets for his revolution, he said the only person that showed up was his mom and her new boyfriend, which he hated. So, what role did his mother have in Korg was conceived by two men in a mountain holding hands over a lava bed?
Could be trans. There you go.
And that introduces a very interesting question of if that's not a gender in your species.
We don't know that. I mean,
we don't know anything about
be
them.
feminine.
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't want to.
That's literally the only thing
I'm leaving that one alone.
Sure.
People call Marvel films unrealistic, but a great tragedy just struck New Asgard, and the theater kids are trying to find ways to make it about them.
I love that. That was great.
I cannot tell you how much I absolutely adore the little Matt Damon and Chris Hemsworth's brother, whose name eludes me.
That's one of the Hemsworths as well?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
The one who plays Thor is one of the Hemsworth. The one who plays Loki is Matt Damon, and Odin is Sam Neill. Mm-hmm. And then they got what's that woman? She's in a bunch of stuff
Melissa
that you,
McCarthy. Yeah.
To play Hela, which I thought was also a great, I don't know why they say they hear victors write history, because we've seen plenty of recent examples where they definitely do not. Mm-hmm. But that was pretty perfect. Yeah. It's of course you're going to make her the most vilified person.
I do really love how hammy that was, where it's Hela breaks thing and Bifrost! And then they cut
Also, that's where it ends?
Yeah, right?
Why is that where it ends? I don't know a lot of stories that end not even on a cliffhanger.
Maybe on a tour there's 3 parts to it, and that was the first part at the beginning of the tour, and then later on they do the other parts. I don't know. It was cute. It did feel weird that was... That's what I mean. There's too many parts in these Marvel movies where I have to be let me try to explain it with something I can make up from my brain instead of watching the damn movie.
I think they keep making films...
Oh, wait, this is me. Cameron was... It was on Cameron's screen the whole time. You're welcome. Okay, go on.
I think they keep making the film silly to hide the deep pain and death. They countered Thor with various colors and happy themes of family and love. Constant friends with Gore was the vibe of the second Thor and the opposite of all that. I'm not entirely sure what the language this person is trying to communicate is. It's like if Thor is forced into more depressive states, his movies get more comedic. Reminds me of a comedic tragedy from Shakespeare. That's given a lot of credit.
I think Gore is that clown from that Powerpuff Girls episode where all the color gets drained out of him. Remember that?
Then Thor and Natalie Portman and Valkyrie are the Powerpuff Girls.
They are.
And they fight the clown, and the clown loses, and then and then Bubbles has to adopt the clown's baby. This is a Cartoon Network pitch.
I instantly love this movie just because I'm now going to say that anytime somebody brings it up. This is just the episode, and Bubbles is Thor, and Tessa Thompson is Buttercup, and Natalie Portman is Blossom.
That objectively makes the most sense. I said Bubbles just because I couldn't remember any of the names.
You're right. That was Bubbles.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
It was very good. And I would agree that I actually do like that Thor and the friends having colors. And Gore being completely devoid of colors kind of shows that nihilism versus love and finding.
Yeah, Gore has lost his pride. And so
Sure.
Thor and them have to give him his
They have a
prize.
big parade. Yeah. As well as they were all wearing different colors when they went to the God Kingdom thing. And you can kind of like, if you a little bit of color theory, you can like piece together what each of them is feeling based on the color they're wearing. I'm like, that's nice. There's parts in this movie that are very good, and I just need to stop being a pessimistic asshole.
Actually, I need to stop back and just say, Taika Waititi is like amazing. Just true. I
Sure,
cannot
yeah.
describe nearly enough how much I love his ability.
That's why this hurts
to
for me.
take stupid, weird, whatever scenes and finds ways to inject a consistency in them that I don't think any other director would bring them. And that's nowhere more perfectly exemplified than having Zeus be played by Russell Crowe feigning a Greek accent.
Very good.
It is such a perfect bit because not only does it explain that the Greek pantheon very much existed, but of course he has a Greek accent. He's in Greece.
That was good.
Also implies that they all lived on top of a very short mountain and no one felt like going up to see them very regularly.
Yeah. And I liked his little whole Thunderbolt thing. He was good. I enjoyed him. Like, a lot of the actors just were great. Like, I thought that they did a very good job. I'm just still a writing snob is my issue.
All right. I really wish we had a scene that showed Jane actually wielding Mjolnir for the first time. I was hoping it would go into a flashback to show her actually becoming the mighty Thor, but all we got was the pieces vibrating and then it switches scenes. Also, is the girl's name Love at the end, or is she the god of love? The wiki has her name as Love, but it would make more sense that she is the god of love since Thor is the god of thunder and it's titled Love and Thunder.
I could have sworn, like, Gore says a name at some point, doesn't he?
Yeah, but she's Love and Thunder.
No, and I know. I mean, like, I'm just trying to remember if there was,
I can
like...
Google this real fast.
yeah.
Everyone's favorite thing about live streams is slow Googling.
My main thing about, like... Yeah, I was fine with her at the end. Like, this is just the thing is that, like, scenes are fine. Getting to those scenes are weird. Like, the fact that they end up together and are, like, the father-daughter, I thought that was great. Apparently that is, I'm pretty sure, his daughter in real life, so that makes sense. But also the fact that, like, that's cool. That's a cool moment, and I like that. Getting
Actually,
there
wait,
was
weren't
weird.
all the kids, the, like, crew's kids?
Were they?
Yeah, if I recall, a lot of them were just, like, the crew and some of the cast's kids.
I love that.
It's so perfect.
That's okay.
What a
that's
fun
nice.
way to get a bunch
I
of little kids.
And I love that. I honestly really like the kids getting taken away like it is like a little fairy tale, like they're getting stolen by Krampus or whatever, and that they're now trying to be brave because they're in there. And then we see Axel having like a badass moment. All of them having their little badass moments, and the Thor is like basically imbuing them with power, just as, you know, the last generation did for him. And so it's nice. But now the newer generation of leaders can be kinder and more like, you know, not dicks versus his dad and like, the Hela and all that crap. So I appreciate that. That was good. A good moment.
I'm trying real hard to find this girl's name.
Okay. It's fine. Love is fine.
Gore's daughter comes through the gates of eternity. Gore dies. Something, something, something. The duo head back to Asgard. Korg found a boyfriend named Dwayne. Boyfriend has a name.
Is it not on IMDb?
Oh yeah, I could just check IMDb. I
What
guess.
did you do? Or did you look up a synopsis?
Kinda.
Goddamn.
Although, I do totally agree that. Actually, I think it was. This is kind of the Spider-Man problem.
Sure.
Which is, I don't need to see Spider-Man become Spider-Man again. I get it. He gets bit. Okay.
I agree.
Cool. Kind of the same thing, which is like, we've seen so many Marvel movies, we pretty much know, like, we don't need, like, how does Jane become Thor sequence.
Sure.
We more or less, like, we saw Thor become Thor in one of these things. We've seen how every hero, like, it's gonna be the same copy pasta thing. I could see why Taika Waititi would feel like, this doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, and I feel bad that like all of these, that's just another element that I kind of feel bad and kind of dislike about Marvel now, is that we all have these preconceived notions of a lot of different things where, yeah, people might want to see like a training montage or whatever. I love those, but you know, it's not always necessary. Some people were theorizing that that would be a Jane from a different universe because the multiverse is around, and they were like, oh, well, the hammer was destroyed, so now there shouldn't be another hammer, so she's probably from a different universe. the fact that the hammer comes back is totally fine. I thought that was fine, but like,
I thought that was genius.
sure, yeah, and it looked badass when it was like spraying in a bunch of different things. Like this movie's cinematic as hell during a lot of those fight scenes. Just getting there. Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream that it felt like, because this was filmed during quarantine, a lot of people standing like opposite each other in rooms, but probably on a green screen 6 feet apart, and then they'd film each individual part separately and then edit them together. Case in point, yeah, just some of the editing and the pacing just seemed a little weird, and I feel like it was for that reason. So.
I cannot find, like, I literally just looked for the name Love in the IMDb billing. I can't find it. No, but okay, so here's why I thought there's something about this movie I particularly loved, and I'm going to give an example here that hopefully will make my explanation salient.
Okay.
We're going to step back, we're going to talk about a different franchise. Terminator. The first Terminator movie is very fun and interesting, and stuff happens.
Yeah, it's fun.
You go to the second movie of any series ever, and it's really hard to have characters and ideas evolve in a way that feels like stuff is still happening in the universe while we're not around, and also feel like that makes perfect sense, and I'm very happy I saw that.
Sure.
So seeing Sarah Connor go from hapless waitress to badass gun-wielding person who is now in prison by the state.
Yeah.
Every part of that sequence and the idea that a Terminator busts into your life and freaks you out makes perfect sense. It's a little hard to evolve beyond that, which is why the subsequent movies kind of all suck. But it's why T2 is one of, like, in my opinion, perfect sequels.
Okay.
I felt the same way about this movie from Ragnarok. And one of the ways that exemplifies this is not only how Jane was doing other stuff the whole time. It allows her to exist off screen even though we don't see her in a bunch of movies. But one of my favorite examples of this is the hammer. It allows you to say, like, just because the hammer broke doesn't mean that it was necessarily the focus for Thor's magic. Like, he was separated from the hammer.
Yeah.
And the fact that she breaks the hammer and then he just gets sucked up into the Bifrost could mean any number of things. We don't really have clear rules on how far the hammer's recall power works.
I did like the fact that it had to be in a little case because you can't move it.
Literally, like, it's just stuck there. Yeah, it's pretty great. But then having her be like, oh, okay, this explains why the hammer would obey her. But because the hammer is broken, the rules still apply. It's like she doesn't just have to throw it now. She can do this cool shotgun thing. There's like an example of
I like that.
Something happened in the past. We have to keep, like, we didn't just weld it back into being a hammer. We took that consequence and turned it into a fun byproduct of this new interaction.
My problem is we're getting the point with Marvel movies where death isn't the end anymore, you know? Loki came back, the Mjolnir can come back, you know.
I mean, that's the unfortunate problem with all of these large franchises is death is never the end. You can have an entire franchise about how even dinosaurs will all die. And we decided to say no to that and then bring them back in 2 different trilogies.
Yeah, jeez.
And never learned our lesson.
Was there anything else you wanted to bring up on that thread?
I could go through a few more of these, but they're kind of all saying the same thing.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I like this movie the same way I like, you know, just a chill experience. So
this is pretty great. Gore brings back daughter. Thanos yeets daughter. What a striking contrast.
Yeah, fair.
That's actually the, like, one weird thing that I feel like a lot of people probably had grievances with is, like, comparing every subsequent villain to Thanos, and also the fact that this God Killer was going to make one wish of eternity. It's like, why didn't Thanos do that? It's like, well, first of all, having control over the Bifrost was not really a thing he could do because obvious reasons. Second of all, it probably was just easier to get the Infinity Stones than doing all this rigmarole that Gore went through.
Also because they wrote the Infinity War, and if he did the other thing, it wouldn't. Everybody would be like, "Where the fuck are the stones? And why isn't he doing what he did in the comics?" Also, Sam wrote something. What did she write? People not really dying is also a very on-brand comic book story. Exactly. No, I agree. That's what I mean. We're at that point.
Return of Superman.
Yeah, we're at that point with the Marvel universe where, and something that I've seen a bunch of these YouTubers that like talk about the kind of thing go over is the fact that we're at the point with most of comic book content that we're getting into the adolescent growing pains of comic books. Where in comic books, cool, you'd have this big cool arc. Now that we've knocked down all the pieces, let's reset the board and go back. And so they're building up to like Secret Wars. They're building up to multiverse fighty stuff,
Man,
like King the Conqueror.
If the guy from Loki is in King the Conqueror, and we actually get
I would love that.
It's going to be better than Thanos.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be oozing charisma and just fun.
I go back often and watch that episode of Loki just because he's such a good actor and he's so charismatic and great. Yeah, that's what I mean. And so like,
he also has the best line delivery. He's like, she stabs him and he just looks her right in the eye. It doesn't even feel pain or anything. He's completely at peace with like, I've lived too long. I have just lived too long. And these are my final moments, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, and he just goes, "See you soon." It's like, ooh.
And the best part is he knows he's not even talking about himself, but he also knows that she doesn't understand. I also find it exhausting how many like shows nowadays imply that like their characters don't know what a multiverse is, even though you literally can't do anything anymore without someone not shutting up about a multiverse.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, multiverses are a little bit more comprehensible than the universe itself. Like, you know how vast the universe is, but like, oh, multiverse is me with a, I was going to say me with a mustache, but I have a mustache.
No, just a mustache.
But yeah,
or just not a mustache.
Or just not a mustache. But yeah, I'm trying to be, that's why like this whole conversation, I'm basically putting an asterisk next to everything I say. It's just like, it's fine. It's not, I didn't enjoy it how much I wanted to. I love Jojo Rabbit. I love everything that Taika Waititi makes. I think he's one of the most creative and brilliant people working today. And so that's why the movie that had said directed and written by him, I wanted to be really great. And it was fine.
This wasn't really great for you. It was perfect. I have not had that much fun since I watched Dune, and I have not had that much fun since the very first time little Cameron watched Star Wars or Jurassic Park.
And if I'm being honest, I think you like this the same way I like Sonic 2, where that movie...
That's true. I watched that movie, I was like, I do not understand what's going on here. Sure. This is not made for me, and I accept that.
Yeah, objectively, 6 out of 10. Keon-wise, 10 out of 10.
12 out of 10, some might argue.
A million out of 10, however many rings out of 10. But yeah, I would... that's why I'm like, we're at that point where like Miss Marvel happened and Moon Knight happened and Loki, Wanda, Falcon, all these shows have happened and they're all fine. They're all fine television. They're not like the best thing I've ever seen, but like they have some really dope moments in them and I'm never going to go and rewatch them, frankly. There's very few parts of them that I feel like I need to.
I literally can't watch Miss Marvel again. I just can't do it. Yeah. There's a character in it that ruins it for me. The name.
Should we talk about it a little bit?
I was going to say, I would like... That's the thing that bums me out, is like they are all kind of like almost like the same platitude of a story, but each one of them is very much focused on a different thing that I think will resonate with people, and that's what makes it like... For us, having that little bit of like, oh, this is what's like growing up around...
I can put you in the corner here.
No one puts Cameron in a corner.
And then I'm over here. Okay, sorry, go on. I completely interrupted you.
There's the whole thing where it's like those little moments where we squeal about like, oh wow, this is like Muslim representation, Middle Eastern representation. Anything that acknowledges that people who are not born in Europe or born in Far East Asia exist.
I was surprised how much, I don't know, you hear a lot about representation and people like talking about it and its importance, and I don't argue that. Like, I'm always like, oh, I mean, people deserve to be represented and stuff. But then when I finally saw something that I felt like actually represented, like, me and my childhood, my culture, and my upbringing,
like that
I was
deep
like...
cut.
Yeah.
Deep
like, I thought Aladdin, the live-action one, was kind of representation. It was like, cool.
Was it?
People that
it wasn't even Middle Eastern. It was like... India.
No, and I agree. I'm saying that like in my brain, I thought like, oh, people that kind of look like me. That's kind of nice. Then seeing this, I was just like, oh, people that still aren't from where I'm from. But like, yeah, they more culturally are on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get our culture on screen.
It would be so
the Rostam movie would be the linchpin of the like Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic.
If there was a Rostam anything, I would love it.
I would lose my mind. Yeah. The Shahnameh saga would be the best.
I think
the best new cinematic universe.
So few people are asking for a Rostam movie that if they make one, it better be completely like true, because there's no reason why you need to fit that into a 3-act structure. Just do whatever.
What's the name? Danny Villeneuve to like make Dune, but with Rostam.
Oh my god.
Oh god, the part where
that'd be so
spoilers,
good.
the part where he kills his son. Oh.
Yeah, no, his son. Oh yeah, he kills his son. I thought his son killed him. You're right.
Nah,
Yeah.
because he ain't a bitch.
Yeah.
All right, I think the last comment we can all go out on.
Okay.
Is all I can say is he's here, he's there, he's every fucking where.
Roy Kent.
Yeah, right.
Oh, so good. Oh,
I,
so good.
I can't believe how jazzed I was for that.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Wide camera.
Wide camera. I think that's all I have to say. Sam, do you want to add anything?
Same.
Sample size.
We're getting on our
People
last
yeah.
moment. Thank
I'm
you
going to count to 20, and then if you haven't replied, we're done.
Exactly.
1,
but
2,
please don't.
3.
Yeah, I think that this was fun. I enjoyed this very much. And I do. The more we talk, Sam said something. I will end with this Marcel phrase. Is made for me, just me. Wait, what? With this Marcel phrase is made for me, just me. Marvel. Okay.
Phrase.
Marvel. Oh, phase. Okay, I missed
That's
the
true.
phrase.
We could do a whole second video about. You should get Sam in here and let her explain to you exactly why this entire phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just for her.
I'm about it. Yeah, why not? No, Sam, I would
Especially
love to do that.
WandaVision.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I was so disappointed we didn't have a moment to show off her. Sam definitely put more effort in than I did in terms of our WandaVision cosplay, but
yeah.
God, she was a perfect Wanda.
This past weekend was
Very
convention MetroCon, and Cameron and Sam came as Wanda and Vision
From WandaVision,
in like 80s.
Yeah, it was like
80s,
Full
90s.
House era.
Yeah. It was nice. It was
I was
very
rocking
cute.
my best Bob Saget, trying to do cocaine.
Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed this. I think you've, frankly, actually, the more we talked, the more I gave more concessions to the film and just felt like, you know what, I'm just being a curmudgeon. I think that is actually a
You
fine
unfortunately
movie.
are a filmmaker, and
Yeah.
as a filmmaker, you have the filmmaker's eye, and you can
Wow.
only see through this lens.
Exactly. And so, yeah, all of those parts stood out to me as like being sloppy for the type of quality that I know they're capable of. So that's just me being like a grumpy dad, where I'm just like, I know you're better than this, Taika Waititi. I saw Jojo Rabbit, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was fine. So I
You need to stop seeing and start watching, Kia.
Wow. Okay. On that note, yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'm gonna go back to
There's
the
a
we'll be
camera
right
here
back
somewhere.
screen. Let me go to Cameron's camera so we can wave back at the screen. There you go. And you can look into the camera and wave.
Wait, you should do the
Oh yeah. Sorry, one second.
And then that'll be the.
Oh,
we'll
it's
go
still
out
on your hand. One second. Let me zoom out a little bit so they can see your whole hand. As we go on, we remember all the times we had to get. No, zoom in. Jesus Christ. Had together.
Jeez, Louis, you're doing the pan and tilt is awful.
Oh my God! Stop! Just go. Just focus. Come on, focus. Come on. Hey, focus. Okay. I love you guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you next time.
On Dragon Ball Z.
Next time on. Oh wow, my voice is screwed. Okay, bye.